My name is Joe Ross, and welcome to my channel. So, I consider myself a spiritual atheist. That's true because there's no gods I believe in, and also I believe that someone who doesn't believe in any gods can have just as full of a spiritual experience as somebody who does. When I talk about spirit, I'm talking about focusing on not interacting with spirits out there in heaven or other dimensions, but I'm talking about focusing on your own spirit and the spirits of other people around you. To me, this is just as valid of a definition for the word spirit as any other definition, or spiritual. To be clear, I have no allegiances to any philosophy or religion, even atheism. If somebody came to me and said, there was a specific God that they believed in and they had all this evidence, I would look at the evidence. And maybe I would end up coming to believe in that God. There aren't any right now that I believe in. And on the contrary, like many atheists, I've lost faith in certain gods. I don't think religions are all bad. I just think the issue is that whatever they are, they're systemic. So if they're pushing for good things, then that's good. If they have a high standard for donating to the poor in a community, that's good. But if they have a tendency toward war, or if they have a tendency to believe that all gay people are going to hell, for example, then that's not good, because they're not thinking for themselves. They're just doing whatever their religion is telling them to do. But like I said, to emphasize, I do think that spiritual thinking can be good, and I do think that certain religions do some systemic good. The thing is, we're sort of in a new frontier right now because so many people are leaving organized religion. I think this just has to do with communication sciences. We can now get perspectives from people around the world instantly by going online. And we interact with people of all different belief systems. And I believe that spiritual thinking is still just as common out there as it's ever been. But people are realizing that their particular religion may not be as truthful or even as beneficial as they were taught to believe that it was. So the good thing about being a spiritual atheist is I can have no cognitive dissonance on anything. You know that feeling that you get when you are supposed to proclaim that you believe something, but deep down inside you know that's not true? Examples in religion are the belief in Adam and Eve as the originators of mankind. Religions tell people, particularly Christian and Jewish religions, tell people that this is what they have to believe. But people come to learn about evolution and genetics and DNA and start looking at, and geology with fossil records, and just start looking at the fact that the human race couldn't have sprouted from two people 6,000 years ago, plus all the other evidence I mentioned, like geology. So that's cognitive dissonance. Someone who realizes that actually something they were taught to believe is wrong, but they continue to say publicly that that's what they believe because that's what they were told to believe. And sometimes they just chalk it up to a miracle and say, well, if that's what God says, then that's true, even though all the evidence that they see for themselves is pointing to the opposite. So there's no need for cognitive dissonance here, because like I said, I have no allegiances I'm tied to. Whatever the truth comes to be, then hopefully that's what I'll be looking at to the best of my ability, obviously. I think we're in a new frontier today with the reduction of people that are involved in organized religions, because I think they sort of don't know what to do with themselves, and society doesn't really know what to do with people, because people have evolved with religion, at least for the last tens of thousands of years. So some religious traits are instilled in our laws, and a lot of our foundation for what we think of as intuitive ethics are from certain religions. Now, it may be that those religions influenced ethics, but it may be that there actually are true intuitive ethics for mankind, and these ethics influenced religions. Either way, I think it's important to realize that religions were such an important part of mankind's history, and they still are an important part. And to ignore all that and just say, I follow science, I don't think is the right way to go about things. Although I do think it's important to follow science, I think that ignoring the spiritual aspect can be detrimental, and you're not getting all the information by simply saying, I follow science. And here's a perfect example. There is one really important thing that science is lacking on right now, and religion has all the real estate with this topic, and that is consciousness. Now, you may say, well, science has made it a long way in understanding consciousness and the brain, and they have done amazing things. They have made it a long way. They can now look at neuron activity and parts of the brain and where consciousness seems to stem from in the brain. But science still has no idea at all, like whatsoever. You can go research this for yourself. There isn't anything on what allows or causes consciousness to exist in this world with the laws of physics that we know of. And I'll be talking about that more in another episode. So the reason I'm doing this channel is to focus both on the value of science, and I really do think science has value, and I think that science is the correct method to follow to get to the right factual information if that's your focus. But I also want to focus on spiritual things having to do with consciousness and emotion and people's life experiences, and I think these things get ignored when we focus only on science. So thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and please comment. I'm looking for any thoughts you guys have. Put them in the comments, and I'll try to respond to everything.